Fiasco Sports NBA season previews. Chris Guscott, my guest. Thanks for coming in.
No worries, man. My pleasure.
I'm Matt Sampson, and I'm excited because we are doing the Phoenix Suns.
Couldn't tell.
That's it.
Smiles.
This, which is not an Amari Stoudemire jersey, unfortunately. It's a Jason Kidd one, which
You have to take his word on it, yeah.
Jason Kidd is one of my least favourite players ever, but I bought the top and all I saw was the front, and then it turned out it was a Stoudemire.
Well,
but
see,
I like all Phoenix Suns, and I'm excited. 16th in the league, which you'd think is good, but I have them ranked 9th in the West, so it's a little bittersweet for my Suns. I don't think they'll make the playoffs again, but they were awesome last year, weren't they? They were awesome. The Suns are back. The Wizards are back, and you're excited. The Suns are back.
It's great. There's none of these bandwagon teams. There's just loyal fans finally getting to see their playoff teams. It's just so sweet.
Okay, I know the Wizards are going to make the playoffs this year, but you don't have to rub in that the Suns are going to miss again. Last year, 48-34, which is only the single best record ever of any team to not make the playoffs, which broke my heart. It came down to literally the last week of the season. Yeah, I'm still bitter about it. The last week of the season, all we had to do was win a couple games. We would have made the playoffs, but it was still an amazing turnaround for Phoenix, who people had slotted us in for like 15 wins, 20 wins. We traded Gortat and they were like 0 wins.
We got him too.
Yeah, we gave you Gortat. Thanks for that. We took your pick this year.
No, that's okay.
It was happy.
I think we're winning.
You got the playoff appearance, but we got rid of Martian Gortat, which is more important.
This guy.
I'm still bitter about
Hates him.
Just a bitter, angry Phoenix fan. But last season the Suns just came out guns a-blazing, which that's the strength we've got there on the screen. Hornacek's green light. He was like, I don't care who you are, Gerald Green, shoot 33 pointers a game, and I was so happy for that as a Suns fan to watch Suns basketball again. 7 seconds or less, not quite, but up and down the court, scoring lots. It was awesome to watch, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, transition offense really does kill teams. If they don't have the schemes to shut it down, and that's exactly what the Suns do, especially with the fact that they like to play small a lot of the time. If they're getting down the court quicker than you and they're going to score on you in transition, it's going to tire you out as well. They're going to score more points. So the Suns are built for this sort of offense, and it just seems natural that Hornacek would come in and kind of give them the sort of the reins to do that.
Well, that's it. That offense was 7th in the league for points per game, and their defense was still a little lackluster. It started off relatively well and waned to they allowed the 21st most points in the league, but that doesn't tell the whole story because, like you say, they get up and down the court. So while it's
high risk, high reward, essentially.
You're getting buckets, but you're giving up transition points as well. But that was really Hornacek's green light, and the double-headed point guard attack was what really was the catalyst. And then the weakness, like we've got there, is a bit tongue-in-cheek. The Western Conference, they would have been like the 4th seed in the East.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
it's just ridiculous.
This team is young and talented and exciting, and I, as a Suns fan, I'm excited about Suns basketball for the first time I have been in a long time, which is just, I know as a Wizards fan, you understand, and it's a great feeling.
Exactly. Do you reckon Phoenix could get a transfer to the Eastern Conference?
I wish. Wouldn't that just be great? Just we could trade ourselves.
Bounce it out,
Can we trade teams?
That'd be cool.
How about we trade 15 for 15 players, or trade all of Phoenix's players, coaches, training staff.
Just the entire team,
to Milwaukee.
To Milwaukee.
And then Milwaukee can play in Phoenix, and they can finish down the bottom, and we can just shoot up to...
Do you reckon the Phoenix fans will be happy with that?
Probably not the ones that actually live in Phoenix.
But like yourself,
But I live in Adelaide, so I don't care where they play. I just care that they make the playoffs, which they're not going to this year, which sucks. But looking at what they did in the off-season, we've finally signed every point guard in the league.
I was just about to say.
By bringing in not only Isaiah Thomas, but also Tyler Ennis. So now we've got 4 really talented point guards.
So they're going to basically run a 1, 2, 3, and 4 system, and you're just going to have a 5 in there who rotates between everyone else on your roster. Is that how's it going to work?
Well, I said the ultimate team would have been the 4 point guards and Channing Frye as a stretch 5,
Exactly.
But he's gone to Orlando for some reason. But we brought in Anthony Tolliver, who is a decent stretch 4 as well. Also drafted TJ Warren, who I think is going to be really underrated this season. You are the college guru. of all the people I know. TJ Warren, second in the nation in scoring last year. He was underrated at NC State, wasn't he?
Pretty much carried the team. And I mean, this was a team that was wasn't really picked to do a whole lot coming into this season. And they were taking down teams like North Carolina. You know, they were really pushing teams, and they were going deep in the tournament because of one guy, and it was TJ Warren. And this guy is an unstoppable force when you get him on offense. And I mean, not as if the Suns actually need more offense, but obviously putting him on board is going to make it very difficult. Very good in isolation, and he's just one of those sort of players that is just difficult to stop in one-on-one, which is exactly what you think that Phoenix is going to be doing, because they'll be playing a lot of ISO and trying to make sure that they're singling out defenders, because if you have a shorter lineup and a quicker lineup, you want to be having those sort of matchups. Yeah,
well, it's sort of like you said, it's an embarrassment of riches. Like the point guards, to have another offensive creator in TJ Warren is awesome for this team, because the isolation score is something that they did sort of miss outside of Goran Dragic and Bledsoe to some extent. To have a guy that can just take his man off the dribble and get to the rim and score is going to be another facet for this team to put points on the board. And Warren is not a great outside shooter. He's a scorer in just the purest sense of being able to put the ball in the basket. He has these weird floaters, flip shots, you know, he gets to the rim.
He's a strange person to watch, but you can't stop watching him, because you're like, how's he going to score? Like, he could have gone through his legs one time, and people would have just not even batted an eyelid.
He reminds me a lot in the way that he scores, sort of like an Anton Jamison, who has those weird flip shots around the basket, and, you know, he releases it at like waist height and it just flips up and goes in, and he just knows how to put it in the hole, which I think the outside shot will hopefully develop. And when you're working with a coach like Jeff Hornacek, you have to improve your outside shooting.
Absolutely,
even if he becomes a respectable outside shooter, that's all you need, because he's going to be getting most of his buckets in transition, which, like we saw in the Summer League, he was torching fools and getting buckets.
I'm down with it.
That's it.
I'm with the kids.
That's it.
Torching fools.
Anyway, I'm really excited to see Bogdan Bogdanovic in a couple of years as well. He played really well at the World Cup. Ish Smith's gone. Deontay Christmas is gone, which is kind of sad. He was the cult hero coming off the bench. But, you know, this team has improved, I think.
It's hard to tell at this stage,
it's hard to tell. You have to watch him play, because, you know, how's it going to work with Ish Smith and the other point guards? I mean, they play two point guards, but obviously you've got Gerald Green has to play as well. And it's hard. But we look at the guys that are going to play the bulk of the minutes. And it's an exciting team when you look at the athletes they have on that roster, isn't it? Bledsoe, there's a lot of contract speculation with him. Is he going to sign? Are they going to trade him? But that doesn't really matter, does it? Because they've got Thomas now and Goran Dragic, who is just a beast. He destroyed the Boomers at the World Cup, which was bittersweet for me to watch. And PJ Tucker re-signed. Markieff Morris is developing. Miles Plumlee's a great athlete, and Gerald Green obviously is a key. Who are you looking for? I'll let you get a word in.
Okay, sure. No, that's all right. No, exactly. Yo, just need to.
I need to calm down about the Suns a little bit, don't I? I've been waiting 30 episodes for this.
That's all right. No, that's all right. You can go ahead.
Who are you excited to see?
Okay, I'm actually personally really excited to see Eric Bledsoe.
Yeah.
And I honestly, last year, I thought he was one of the best things that happened to Phoenix, because he didn't get the credit he deserved for playing in the Clippers, because he's never going to start over
behind Chris Paul. And we got him for peanuts as well.
Exactly, yeah.
The Suns traded nothing. Jared Dudley and some picks, second-round picks for a guy that could be an all-star. So, I'm on board.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, the Duke coach who coached him through college said he's one of the best players he's seen. And this guy who he's coached the American team countless times, you know, and Duke's one of the best college programs in the country. So I mean, he's got high raps on this kid.
Well, I don't want to shut you down. I mean, the college career. Yeah, Kentucky. That's it. I'll let you correct yourself.
I was thinking, I was like, wait a minute. Okay, John Calipari. Sorry.
Yeah, Coach Cal.
Yeah, exactly.
It's Cal, Coach Cal, Coach K.
Yeah, exactly.
You need to define.
And they're both blue.
That's it.
They're both blue. I just meant to blank.
The main thing about Bledsoe, though, is the potential that he has. And like you said, in college he was behind John Wall, and the Clippers he's behind Chris Paul, and now he's somewhat behind Goran Dragic. But we don't know what he's going to do. Is he going to stay? Is he going to leave? He's got injury problems, but like you say, I agree. He's a big catalyst to this team.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see Gerald Green back up his first really good season. I mean, he had a great year for New Jersey, which not a spectacular year, but that was when he first came back to the league. And
but it's New Jersey, though. So.
Yeah, and he started to show he could put up some numbers, and then he signed big money in Indiana and was just no good. Came to Phoenix, and I want to see a second season, basically, is the short of it. And Markieff Morris, I think, is going to be a really solid, great NBA power forward.
Yeah.
Was right up there in 6th Man of the Year voting last year. Really developed. He's playing with Marcus now. I can't tell them apart. I think on the screen I've got Markieff. It might be, I'm not sure.
It's really hard.
They have the same tattoos.
It's really hard.
They're definitely the definition of twins are kind of creepy.
Yeah, it's just super creepy. And the fact that you wouldn't want to meet either one of them in an alley.
Yeah.
They're big dudes.
They're big, scary, like 6'10" guys covered in tattoos.
See if you got the name wrong, like.
Yeah, guys with tattoos are just not trustworthy at all, are
Especially
they?
if you're 6'10".
That's it.
6'10". Wow, I'm like 5'8". We're talking about this off camera.
Yeah.
I'm so small. Like, I can't even imagine standing next to someone 6'10".
Yeah, well, I'm almost 6'4". I like to say I'm 6'4". I'm just a little shy, but yeah, no, those guys are massive. Anyway, moving on, PJ Tucker as well.
Yeah, of course.
Good to see PJ Tucker get paid because he's all hustle, all heart, and that's what you love to see on the court.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the guy who Australians hate him now because he called out the Boomers for tanking in the World Cup, and he torched them in the first game. But Suns fans love him. The Dragon.
Sure.
Hopefully double Dragon. Hopefully we can get Zoran to come across in the off-season. But Goran Dragic, we got to give him his dues here. He's most improved player last season. No one expected that coming in. All NBA third team.
Exactly.
That's big raps. Like top 15 in the league, pretty much. 20 points a game. 50 points from the field, 50% from the field, 40% from the line, 6 assists. He was in category with only LeBron and KD to put up those sort of numbers for most of the season. I think he just dipped under 6 assists at the end there. Yeah. But he had a Houston Rockets sort of sabbatical, a bit of timeout, bit of hiatus from the Suns, and came back and just was absolutely cooking last year, wasn't he?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this guy, I think he's still underrated. Like, this guy's incredible.
It's weird to say that,
isn't it? Yeah, because it's not as if he's a household name or anything. And you talk about, like, if you're on an all-NBA third team, that means there's only 2 people at your position who are technically better than you that season. And you think about how many quality point guards there are in this league.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you could name at least 5 or 10 straight off the bat. So to put him in the top 3 is really, I think it's the credit he deserves finally, and he is such a terrific playmaker. And like you said, he doesn't seem like the sort of guy that would score 20 points a night on the day, but he does that, and it's those sort of sneaky players who manage to score even though you don't think that they are, that are going to get you in the end. And Australia found that out for starters, even though he was probably the star on their team. But he definitely proved against a quality opposition last year that he is definitely one of the top playmakers in the league.
Yeah, he's easily a top 10 point guard now. He should have been on the All-Star team last year, but he got bumped as the injury replacement for Anthony Davis, which, you know, Davis is a burgeoning superstar, and the game was in New Orleans, so there was never any chance that it wasn't going to be him.
It's a bit rich.
He's potentially an All-Star this year. I think people might start to recognise the talent he has. He's like you said, he puts up 20 points a game, but not many point guards do that. I think him and Isaiah Thomas, who's ironically on the Suns now.
It's perfect. You've just got all the good point guards.
Yeah, he gets to the rim though, and he's hard at it. He runs into defenders. He's bled for the team on multiple occasions, and I think playing with Steve Nash has really been the catalyst for him sort of excelling. And he came back to Phoenix and got handed the reins, and finally started to capture that talent that he has inside him, which it's great to see. I love it when you see a guy similar to the Bledsoe situation, who doesn't get the minutes or the opportunities, and then comes to a team and just explodes. And Dragic just exploded last season. He absolutely went off, and hopefully, I think the shooting is what worries me, because he was a little unreliable in his first few seasons, and now he came in last year and was just an absolute gunner. Like sniping from the outside like no tomorrow, step back threes, getting around people, pull-ups, everything. If he can keep that shooting up, I think he'll be fine, but I'm really excited to watch him play.
Yeah, well, I think that's one thing as well that you mentioned, because he's such a good playmaker, and he's a terrific assist player. You don't really expect him to step outside and then hit a 3, do you? So, I mean, this guy, he has multiple assets to his game that makes him difficult to guard, and because if you want to shut him down when he comes on the inside to try to play make, he'll step back outside and shoot. If you want to go on the outside, he'll get past you to get to the rim, pass the ball off.
That's it.
Multifaceted player.
That's it. He's got multiple ways he can burn you. He can get to the rim. He's got a sort of like Tony Parker light spin move to him. He can finish under the ring and then he can step out and hit it from outside. But, you know, I could talk for another half an hour about my love for Goran, the Dragon. You know, he's been great. I love it. But we got to get into the Believe the Hypothetical. Another thing I love, this segment of the show, thanks to Tom and Benyam at Believe the Hype for coming up with all these questions and predictions for us. Check out all the info on the screen. Most importantly, listen to the podcast. It's definitely worth your time. You know what I mean? If you even half enjoy us, then you're definitely going to enjoy listening to them. They say, though, that this Phoenix Suns team, just like the Guardians of the Galaxy, this jolly old band of misfits are going to save the world and win a hell of a lot of basketball games along the way.
Okay, first observation. If they're going to save the world, they're going to have to, like, the person's kryptonite's going to have to be height, because they're just a whole bunch of short dudes.
Yeah, well, that's true. So they're
like the dashers, like the people that dash around like super speed, and then they kind of get confused and fall over, and that's how you win the boss battles.
I think that, this is the best way to describe this team, though.
It really
is a jolly old band of misfits, because you've got 4-point guards, you've got a pair of twins, which are identical even down to the tattoos. I mean, you've got scorers like TJ Warren that can't score from the outside but fill it up. I mean, Isaiah Thomas shouldn't even really be in the league, but just because of his height, people write him off. This is a weird team.
This is very odd.
I mean, Eric Bledsoe is a bit of a prima donna. Dragic isn't from America. He speaks some weird language from some little corner of Europe. But this team, and then you got the Galaxy, you got the Suns kind of mixing in there. But
I think that. It's beautiful now.
This team, if there's any sort of team that I could see as like in Guardians of the Galaxy or sort of an Avengers type, it has to be this team, just because it's sort of a ragtag bunch of misfits, isn't it?
I see Cleveland more like the Avengers, because they've got a whole bunch of guys who are recognisable.
Okay, so it's sort of like the overrated mainstream franchise.
Kind of, yeah. I guess you could say that. But yeah, no, Guardians of the Galaxy. Did you actually watch it? Really
I haven't seen it.
What?
I haven't seen it. I was hoping to get through this without you calling me out.
Sorry, we should have talked about this.
I know what it is. I've seen the trailers and I do want to see it.
But it was really good, and it was quite funny as well. The Phoenix Suns could be funny.
They are funny. I mean, Dragic was dressing up like Darth Vader last season in Instagram videos, and you got twins. Twins are always
just funny.
It's just interesting. I mean, you know, we've had Robin Lopez.
Yes,
as well. We had Blake Griffin's younger brother. we've had all the bad twins.
Yeah, really. I was going to say there's not really any two really good twins.
Yeah, we've had all the lesser younger brothers, and now we've got a pair that sort of combined. I've always wondered if they weren't twins, if they were just one player, would they just be like an all-star? But then they sort of got diluted. But,
it's like osmosis in a way.
Yeah, a little bit. But yeah, this team is a weird team that maybe is, basketball player by day, superheroes by night. And
like waiter by night. Like a waiter. I could just imagine some of these guys, just their second jobs would be them like garbage collection or something.
Well, Bledsoe's going to need a second job after not signing, $48 million. Well, I don't want that. But anyway, getting to the point, got to wrap it up.
Sure.
30 seconds on the clock, Chris. Sure. What's your prediction for the Phoenix Suns?
I'd so love to say that they make the playoffs. But the West is just impossible conference. I know you would, but the West is an impossible conference. And you think that just if they're going to make the playoffs, it will not be this year, but it will be next year. Because you just need to develop, especially a lot of the younger guys as well. And I mean, you need to work at that system too. I mean, as much as the system was working last year, you still need to work at having all those point guards on the field, on the court as once. So I mean, ninth, and it pains me to say, because I do want to see Phoenix, at least have a go in the finals at least. But even if they do make the finals, I mean, they've got teams like San Antonio, Oklahoma City that will probably face in the first round. Not sure they have the enough to get past them.
Yeah, well, the way that I looked at it was, Phoenix finished 9th last season as well, and you look at the teams that are above them: Memphis, Dallas, and Portland, and all those teams have either gotten better or I think are just better. Like Dallas is obviously
kind of just flatlined in a way, but in a good way, because they're sort of sitting in that.
Dallas has gotten better. Memphis is going to have Marc Gasol all season. Golden State have a new coach and some crucial changes around there. Portland is the one that I can see that maybe slips out potentially. Depends. It's going to be really close, but I think this Suns team is going to still win a lot of games.
Yeah.
They're going to miss the playoffs probably, but they're not going to miss by much.
Do you reckon 50 wins and they still miss?
Oh, no, I don't want to win 50 wins and miss the playoffs because that would just crush my soul.
That'd be ridiculous.
But yeah, they're going to be a 40-win team at least. 40-plus wins.
45
and not make the playoffs. They're going to have I'm still going to predict they're going to have a better record than the 8th seed in the East.
I'll probably have a better record than probably the 6th or 5th seed in the East.
Yeah, and I'm going to break things when that happens. It's going to be so sad. I have a broken heart.
Is it a little bit like morbid that I can't wait to see that?
Yeah, that's very morbid.
Sorry.
You're not a good friend.
I'm trying to support your Suns, man. It's just, we can't help it. The West is too good.
Thanks for joining us, though. This has been fun.
Thank you.
I've been Matt Sampson. This has been Chris Guscott, former friend of mine. Shout out to Sporties for letting us film. We had to make a quick filming change before this, didn't we? We're in the boardroom right now, which is feeling very official. And to dress up, I wore my basketball jersey. And thanks to Believe the Hype for sending in all those questions. We really appreciate it, guys. Phoenix Suns, not going to make the playoffs, but they are the best team in the league.
He needs a hug.
I need a hug.
He needs a hug.
Join us next time. Give me a cuddle.